Can you hear me okay? Because I haven't tested my mic. Yeah? Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, we hear you loud and clear.
Great. Uh, Stephanie, thank you for asking me weeks ago. And thanks for the reminders. I find it really important because kind of did the chair, I think about 2 months ago, a month ago or something. I'm not sure when Stephanie asked. There was quite a lot going on. Dominic, can you remind me how long I've got? Because I can go on forever.
Yeah, so 20 to 25 minutes. We can
Okay,
put a card up for you if you want when you've got five
please
minutes
do.
left.
Please do.
Yeah, no worries.
Okay, so right. Yeah, topic of choice. Basically, I was going to, because whilst we were having the clean time countdown, it brought up stuff for me. I hate that when people say that in meetings. It brought up stuff for me. What it is every year in London, every single fucking year in London, they have the London Convention in April, and my clean time birthday is in May. So every year I stand up 2 weeks early, wanting to be something more than I am. Like this year, for example, I was in London and I stood up for 20 years. And then 2 weeks later, which was last week, I was 21 years. And it's like, so every year I kind of go to my old hometown because I live in Bath these days and in the West Country, the beautiful West Country. And yeah, I just kind of still have a resentment. So I'm still work in process. I'm like, yeah, I'm 21 years clean, something I never even thought about. And I still have to do work on myself. So my topic basically is how I got here, what I did to stay here, uh, and a bit like that disease of addiction reading. You know, I've grown up in NA. I arrived via prison. I'm not going to talk too much about this. I arrived via prison in 1992. I was a single parent with a very young girl, my daughter, who I dragged round NA meetings for 10 years, uh, literally. So I feel for you other parents out there. But I tell you what, when you're a man and you're doing it, it's funny how when you go to the parents and carers stuff, how they ignore you. You know, I'm going to be just sharing my experience here, and I had to look at that. I had to look at that. I'm a man in recovery, bringing up a child on my own. Wasn't easy, especially when I had a drug habit. Right, so I'm going to jump about a little bit with this, but let's get some things out of the way. Have a home group on a Thursday. My home group on a Thursday is the Bath Thursday night just for today group. I've tried several times in this group to try and get them to do the spiritual principles, but half the group's people who come from AA who smoked the joint once. So they're not budging, they don't like change. They're not yeah, you very rarely hear that, you have to change. If you don't change, your clean time will. You have to change in this program. So I'm going to share some experience around it. But before I go into that, I've got some beautiful, lovely things that went on for me. I've got a friend of mine, he's on at the moment. He's actually someone who's early in recovery, who's running from meeting to meeting to try and stop himself from killing himself. But he made me a card last week and it says, Super congratulations, NA card. Look, with a little Care Bear on it. With a lovely little Care Bear. It's fucking fantastic. Handmade fucking card. And then somebody else in the meeting gave me that, which was probably apt. But, it's that part of we're a we program. Regardless to where you are, where you're not are, we're a we program. We all help each other. That's the whole idea of it. Some of us have to work the steps. Some of us don't. Some of us just need to come to meetings. My stepson was 3 years clean recently, and he said he's not going to the meetings anymore. And he doesn't go. He's obsessive and crazy in work. He's absolutely nuts is what he does with computers. He's so obsessive, it's hard to distract him. So he's kind of replaced that for the program. And he was saying to me about how he's upset with NA. And I said to him, you're lucky, mate. I have to come. Has anyone tried not coming? Has anyone tried not coming to meetings and not doing NA? It don't go very well for me when I don't come. Right, so let's catch this up a bit because I don't want to spend too caught up in it. You know, I came to NA via prison, Wandsworth Prison, spent 10 years trying to get clean. I finally got to 2003 after 8 treatment centres and an extended time in prison. What I had discovered was I hadn't learned what was wrong with me. I was coming to meetings, doing step work, paying lip service, doing service, but I hadn't found out what was actually wrong with me, like that disease of addiction card we read. I had to find out for me personally, because something which I think is a lie in NA is that we're not all the same. You know, some of us stand up when we go to the toilet. We're not all the same. You know, we're different. Some of us think differently. Some of us are really obsessive over certain things and some of us are not. And I've had to learn some stuff. So I'm only going to share what I've learned, really. And yeah, so, right. So started coming to meetings, started doing service commitments, absolutely important to me. I had a really good sponsor. He took me through the green and gold when I'd previously done steps within 6 months. And then I had to do it again. What he taught me, and this is the trick I learned, was you do step work every day between 8 o'clock in the morning and 8:30. Turn phone off every day, whether you write something or not. And I did my steps in next to no time. And I've done lots of steps since. I'm just saying that because that's a tip that worked for me. Yeah, I came in religious. And working this program, I've become not religious. I've become very atheist. I have a higher power in my understanding, and I'll explain some of that. Yeah, I couldn't get a day clean. There's a lovely little you got to do if you think you're a sharer, you got to share out the basic text, didn't you? You know, if you've got an ego, I mean, it says on page 5 of the basic text, our track record shows that it's impossible for us to use successfully. Now, I used to confuse using successfully when I first read that, whether having a lot of drugs was being successful. Well, when you're an addict, having a lot of drugs is being fucking successful. But, you know, it says in the next line, no matter how well we appear to be in control, using drugs always brings us to our knees. I like to convert that to, can anybody save anything for tomorrow? Because in my world, I couldn't. It would be 1 minute past midnight and then it'd be tomorrow. And then you start using again. You know, it's like I couldn't actually save anything till tomorrow. So, you know, I had to learn something really, really about my illness. I had to learn about it because I kept looking at other addicts and thinking, why am I keep fucking up? I've been coming here for 9 years. I can't get more than 9 months. Why can I not do this? And I changed sponsors, and my sponsor said to me, you're so sick, you don't know how sick you are. And he was right. And I was 2 years clean by this point. And see, one of the things is you can get my Auntie Jean and you can lock her in the garden shed, right? And you can give her cups of tea with drugs in. right? And after a couple of weeks, when you let her out, it's like, hey, Jean, would you like another cup of tea, a bit of milk and some heroin? You know, when you let her out after a couple of weeks, she will be fully addicted. But once you've let her go, when she comes back a week later, she's not going to say, can I have some more of that? She's going to say, fuck off, keep away from me. Yeah. So it's quite simple to a certain extent. You know, there's people who come in with a drug problem, but they're not necessarily addicts. I happen to be the full variety Billy Bonkers addict. I had to learn what was wrong with me. And on the bottom of that page 5 in this book, it says the additional thing, what makes us different from everyone else. Our reaction to drugs is what makes us addicts, not how much we use. So I've got the 2 ingredients. I'm obsessive of thought and I have the physical addiction, according to the Narcotics Anonymous basic text, the basic book. So I've got all that going on, which means I'm powerless. I have to do something to stop myself. Otherwise, I can't do what I don't want to do just because I don't want to do it. I can't. I have to get some form of defense. Just going to meetings and doing service and hanging out with addicts. I always end up with the addicts that are not really fucking interested and everyone else is a bit of a mug or a bit of an idiot. And then, hey presto, I end up sleeping with the wrong person, doing something totally wrong. I'm powerless. You know, powerless means no power. That was the whole of my using. I have no power. I have no mental defense. I have no power. So I didn't understand this. So I need a power greater than me. I have to have a power greater than me. We're not talking about some flash of light or some dropping to my knees and being grateful for some outside help. I need you guys. There's not one person on this meeting who I couldn't ring up and say, like, for example, Abby's on the meeting. If I ring Abby up and I say, hey, Abby, do you think it's all right for me to use? She'll turn around and say, don't be stupid, Frankie. What the fuck are you doing? She's a power greater than me. You plus me is a power greater than me. You know, if we're, for example, if we're angry with Paul, right? Paul from Aberdeen, and we're at the convention, me and Reg together, we could probably, us 2 pensioners could wrestle him over, you know. See, me plus Reg is a power greater than me. So I need the support of the program. The program is a power greater than me. The basic text is a basic book on how to recover. Right, got all that out of the way. So I have to do the rest of the steps and I have to do all this stuff to be able to learn how to deal with my illness. The steps didn't really do too much for me. They didn't really tell me more than I already know. I've saw people sitting in meetings going, I'm doing step 4. And in the book, it says there's a monster inside us that may, you know, fucking come out and consume us. Wasn't in my, I knew my monster. I was quite friendly with, I liked him actually, my monster. He was kind of cool, but he kept getting me in trouble. It's like that best mate in school who wants you to bunk off. You know, it's like, kept getting me in trouble. You know, I had to change. I had to do something different. So after many years of being in this program, being involved, setting up meetings, going to conventions, doing all that stuff, life changed and life got better. I started to not take myself so seriously as the way I did in the beginning. I began to laugh at myself. Something was really, really good. Never mind writing a gratitude list. Try phoning a new person and asking them, what shall I do? It's really helpful. It not only helps a new person, it also helps me. I do that on a regular basis. You don't have to do what they tell you, but it's really, really helpful. So, you know, it's like another thing. I really want to get this over. This is my experience. This might not be yours. Coming into the meetings and saying to people, I want to say what's going on for me is just therapy. It's just therapy, you know. It treats the symptoms of the addiction. We, with the step work, the meetings, talking to other people, and so on, deal with the actual illness itself. You can treat the symptoms of this illness forever. And you see that with people. And I know people from when I was in my first couple of years who are still the same, still talking the same stuff in meetings. Besides losing my hair, I've changed. I've changed how I talk. I changed the music I listen to. I changed as it says in the people, places, and things. I've changed everything. You know, uh, wow. I got married in recovery. It's one of the longest relationships I've ever done. The only thing I've completed before that was prison or treatment. Here's a funny one with treatment. I know we don't talk about it, but I'm gonna. In most of the treatment centres when I left, they gave me a certificate for completing, right? That's like saying, well done, here's your fucking certificate, and you fulfilled your time in the mental institution. You want to go and put that on your wall, say, hey, I've got a certificate because I'm mentally ill. It's like, cracks me up. There's so many different things. They really make me laugh. It's like we have some local people come into my meetings and they're like 6 weeks out of treatment, and they're they've got it all sussed. And I think, how did you learn? How did you get that? You know, the best thing I can do is I can only keep what I have by giving it away. I can only turn around and tell people what works for me. I've learned to leave the newcomer alone. I've learned, I've seen people running up to newcomers and trying to thrust, you know, uh, pamphlets in their hands and driving them mad. It just seems to fucking scare them and run them off. It's a lot better to be friendly and ask them questions if they want some help and so on. That's what I find. My life's good. I happen to be married to a recovering addict. We don't have arguments. We don't have arguments. We work a program. But after we've had a little heated discussion, what we'll do is we'll do an autopsy. We'll sit down and we'll see whose part is whose. If you're a man out there, let me tell you something. Always fully concede, yeah? No matter what way you look at it, no matter how clever you are, you know, the person who rules the bedroom is the one who rules the house. And that's just fact. That's why we're different. You don't have to believe me. Totally, everyone's different, everyone's got their own choice. I love recovery. I've been doing this for really a long time. I never try and do the same share. I always try and share experience because I got that we only keep what we have by giving it away. I understand that. You know, I've I think something I'm really proud of is none of my sponsees are here this evening, and there's 3 people who I sponsor who have more than 17 years. And I think that's really cool. There's a downside to that. Most of these guys who I sponsor, when I sponsored them, they had fuck all. They had nothing. They had, burner phones and were struggling. The problem is they've all worked the program, done really well. Now they've got more money than I've got. I'm this, guy with COPD, living out in the country, taking me dog on walks, trying to be retired artist, which is impossible. And one of these guys is a millionaire, another one runs a big construction company. And I think, what the fuck happened there? I thought I thought there's meant to be this hierarchy, and there I thought I was meant to be the wealthy one. But the wealth we have here in NA, the wealth we have is the love we have amongst each other, the way we support each other. My my life couldn't be better. I've got some beautiful relationships with people in NA. You know, I'm able to say to different people that's on this meeting who I've known for many years now, you know, that, you know, I couldn't live my life without you guys in it. You know, I've got my friend Saul on the meeting here from over in Northern Ireland. You know, it's just it just goes on and on. You know, that's why we have so much trouble talking to normies. You know, it's like the things what I know about you guys, and you know too. You know, like with Matt and his coffee shop, and Reg over in Canada, and it goes on and on and on. You know, we build up this thing, and we all meet a couple of times a year, and we stay on meetings, and somehow this magic works. You know, I've looked at my character defects. I've looked at, you know, different sides of myself. And the outcome of it is I'm not so resentful. Find out what resentments are. You know, a resentment being to relive a feeling and a thought. That's the original of it. Hey, Mike, have a pipe for us. Did you catch that on Anne Marie's things? How stupid must it be to come along and think that you're going to trigger a fucking addict with having a pipe? That's fucking crazy, isn't it? You know, I find that's like I'm gonna probably, you know, I think my time's nearly up, but it's a bit like I don't know if you guys go to face meetings. We have this thing down in London. It's always fucking pissy. It always made me laugh. When they say it in the preamble, they say, uh, to keep the meeting safe, if you've got any drugs or using paraphernalia, take them outside and stash them. There is absolutely no fucking way in this world would I be pulling stuff out my bum and going and hiding it just to sit in an NA meeting. So thank you, Dominique, for letting me know I've got 5 minutes left. So that was perfect timing with me talking about my bum story. But like, you know, it's like there's absolutely, you know, so I think that's to see whether people are addicts or not, isn't there? There's no way you'd go and how could you be separated from your drugs? You have to consume them all. That's the point of being obsessive. You consume them all, you know. So working on myself, doing all this, I I think it was about 6 to 9 months that I lost the desire to use. At a year clean, I managed to stop smoking. That's a whole story within itself. That was not easy. Uh, I've got lots of consequences of my illness, but I don't go on about them so much. I just kind of deal with them. I'm quite a grateful addict in that sense, and there's a lot of support around it. For me, I'm lucky in my life where that's concerned. But I've had to change what I eat. I've had to learn to put good stuff in. I've had to learn to be healthy. I've got some really good spiritual practices, you know, and I take time for me every single day. I make sure I go for healthy walks because I've never been a sports person. I've never been one of those addicts who wants to smash the gym. But I always make sure I look after mind, body, and soul. It's really important. I always try and read something that I don't normally read. I try and stretch my mind. It's very important that, even if it's just recovery literature. I recently got a new sponsor. I got a new sponsor after 15 years of my old sponsor. We didn't connect anymore and some differences came along. And then I had a year gap. Wasn't planned. I leaned on my sponsees and I leaned on my sponsees. I used the sponsorship family for support. I phoned Paul and Paul phoned me most days, and we're not even in the same sponsorship family. We're just in NA together. And I got through all that. I had no serious dramas. And now I've got a new sponsor. Guess what the fucking sponsor said? If you want me as your sponsor, you're going to have to do step work. I was like, God, is that? I'm doing a step 3. I'm in the middle of a fucking step 3 response. I'm 21 years clean. I thought you're meant to be past all that now, aren't you? You know, I've been through the steps a few times. But no, of course. Of course I do my step work. I'm doing the basic text worksheets. I did them quite a few years ago. I'm doing them again, very slowly this time. And it's quite important, I think, to just stay connected, because I can fall foul of that thing of believing that I know. You know that thing of newcomers, when you speak to them, they go, yeah, I know, I know, I know, I know. I can do that at 21 years. You speak to me, I go, yeah, I know, I know, I know. I've seen it, I've read it, I've done it, I know. But it's a practical program. It's not a bloody exam, is it? It's not being qualified. You know, you can't become qualified addict when you've got a disease. And it's very, very simple. It's that thing of if I've got the disease of addiction, the disease of addiction is like the disease of diabetes. I'm stage 1 diabetic. It's chronic. And when you look it up, it means it has to be treated, otherwise it becomes fatal. You know, so I'm a very grateful recovering addict. Thank you for giving me the chance to share. And I'll just leave it there. Thank you.